Okay, so if you watched the last video, we spent time pulling out everything that we don't want. So we had just, for example, here's the second dance, and this is unedited, so you see these long continuous clips, and over here we have all these clips. We haven't moved anything on the timeline, we simply deleted anything that we do not want to use and left everything in that we do want to use. Now, in a completely traditional wedding edit, we can simply take all these clips, get rid of the space between them, fade between them, and call it a day. But what we actually want to try to do is make it seem a little more interesting and entertaining. We want to bridge that gap between the old-fashioned traditional video and the cinematic video, which would cut out a lot more. In the cinematic version of a dance edit, you would actually go through this and cut it down even shorter and only show the absolute best shots. Over here we want to show a little bit more than just the best. We want to create a beautiful memory for the bride and groom, but we want to keep it interesting. So the important things to note here are that right now, any given clip is exactly lined up with its respective point in the music. This green bar on the bottom is the band recording, and I can go back and forth between this track, and they should be playing exactly the same thing. Also, all the cuts were done on beat with the music, and you can watch the last video for more information on that, but that's very important for what we're about to do. Lastly, you'll see I changed the color of a few of the clips. In this specific edit, there are only 2 of them that I had to do it, but basically that's a point in the music where there was a significant change in the tempo. So the music slowed down to a different style, or it sped up to a different style, or there was some sort of drastic change that I needed to be careful about, and we'll play that for a second so you can see what I meant. Alright, so here it was faster. So a tempo of about 165 to 180, whatever it is, and then it slows down to about 110, 120. Okay, so I want to make sure when I'm moving things around on the timeline that this clip ends up in the right spot. I don't want to end up with this clip in a faster point in the song, because it's just going to look off. And, you know, and then the same thing here. Okay, so this entire point is slow, and I just marked the first clip, and then I marked the last clip. Alright, over here it gets back fast, so I marked that point again. These clips between the purples need to end up in this slow part, and we'll see how we're going to do that in a minute. And everything after that needs to end up in the fast parts again. Okay, this clip as well, we're going to mark it. I forgot to do it before, but basically this clip... Okay, we'll get to that. Let's go back to the beginning. Again, I'm not doing the intro just yet. The reason for that is because I don't want the final edit with the full wedding, the ceremony, the dance, everything, to appear as separate edits. If I would completely edit this dance and then just put it next to a completely edited ceremony, there would be a slight disconnect. So the few clips at the end of the ceremony and the few clips at the beginning of the dance, I sort of want to edit as their own. I want to edit them together. I want them to bridge seamlessly from one event to the other. So we're going to not edit. This is the first dance set. We're going to not edit yet this first clip. We're going to not edit these ending clips. We're just going to make a complete dance set in the middle. This was shot with one camera, and we're going to try to make sure that it comes across as a 2-camera edit. The most important thing, though, is that it needs to look natural. Okay? If there's any point where it doesn't come across as natural, that's a guaranteed that the client's going to come back and say, the music doesn't line up with the dance. So as much as we're moving things around on the timeline, it must look natural. So let's dive into it. The general rule is that because of the way we made the cuts, we should be able to just move things around on the timeline. So I should be able to just move this here. Now remember, the sound from the camera is muted. We're only listening to the band recording. If I start moving things around on the timeline while listening to the camera sound, obviously this sound and this sound won't line up anymore. If you're in a situation where you do want to have a little bit of that camera sound mixed into the band sound, so you need to make a copy of the audio track from the camera and then create a nested sequence of these two. I'm not going to be doing that here. The reason being is that this was not a line in from the band. It was a recorder that was stationed near the band, so it does contain enough of the crowd and the audience and the dancing to satisfy the way I want it to sound. It has some of the band, some of the crowd, and that sort of works for me. So what I'm looking for here is that the people still appear to be bouncing to the music. If at any point that stops, I need to adjust things. Okay. Now, even though this clip did go a drop further, I want the cut point to be that hard cut in the music. So. And let's see if, nope, I can't stretch that anymore. So we're gonna, let's see, you gotta get a little creative sometimes. Okay. We gotta just drag it a teeny drop more to line up. It's never gonna be perfect, but it needs to be as close as possible. So what I just did before is I had cut off a little bit too much of this clip, and then this clip ended at a weird spot. So I put it back and I dragged it a little more, but again, the cuts are always on a beat. Okay, so that can probably just go here. Alright, now we're going to trim that all again so that it goes with a hard cut in the music, because I may have cut it initially at a hard cut to wherever it was originally, but now that I moved it, the cut points could change here and there. Now we're going to start getting a little creative. So because we're dealing with a live band, even though they're generally dancing to the same tempo, but you might have slight differences between the stuff that took place over here and the stuff that took place over here. And even though they're just slight and they may not be noticeable when you're at the wedding as a guest, they come across on the video if we start putting a clip from here into this point in the timeline. So we need to start trimming the music so that in general, clips are sort of where they belong on the track. And we're going to try to do it similar to the way a DJ would mix tracks live. If there was a DJ switching between two songs, he would make the switch so natural that you can't really tell that the song is switching. So over here, this song went from a low to a high. Right, so I'm going to skip a little bit. Okay, so in looking ahead, I realized that after this next high part, the band actually did switch songs. So let's just make sure ladies, men, you always have to go back and forth, ladies, men, or between a wide shot and a tight shot. Something has to change between every shot. So I'm going to let it go one more clip. Alright, and we could drag that out a teeny drop more so that it meets the cut point. And now, right, now what I'm going to do here is, over here the song switched. And they went to a low part of another song. So let's listen for a little bit and see what happened. Alright, so right over there is a nice cut point. And they began the low part again. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to simply cut out one entire low part. And again, it's very important that these cuts happen exactly on beat with the music. Okay, now we're just going to move this over temporarily. And we're going to ripple delete. Now, without putting any fades of any sort, this should be seamless. So I'm going to turn off the video and we're just going to listen to it. And if it worked, I don't always get it perfect on the first try, but if it worked, this should be seamless and you almost shouldn't notice it. Okay, so now we're gonna, now, if we do get it right, then if we put a fade, and we just switch it so that it's all the way to the left as possible, so it's bringing in a little bit of the new track into the old track, that will take an already good cut and make it sound perfect, almost as if the band actually did it. Okay, that one did not work. I don't like the way that sounds. Okay, so we're going to undo that. And we're going to do it a different way. Over here they have a musical version of the low part. And this is, you're watching me actually edit a wedding, so things aren't always going to go perfect on the first try. Alright, so instead of cutting out that first low part, I'm going to cut out that second low part and find the high part of the song. Alright, and again, the cut just has to be exactly on the music for this to work. And remember, we could move things around in the timeline. We don't want to overdo it. But just ripple delete, and it's always good to check that it works before you fade it. Okay, that sounds natural to me. I don't know why it's not letting me put that back, but anyway. So now, if I put that fade in, and again, drag it all the way to the left, is usually my go-to setting. And that was seamless. We're going to listen to it one more time, but if you close your eyes and don't look at where the cut is, you should be able to just dance right into it. Right? The drums sound perfect, the vocals, just everything just works. If I would have heard that live, I would think nothing of it. And when I hear that in the video, the client watching this on the other end, we want to make them feel like they're watching a continuous dance. By fading out music and fading into other tracks, which is the traditional style of edit, you're just feeding them that okay, there was more, but we edited it. But if you can create these natural cuts, you really play to the mind of the viewer that, hey, here's what happened, here's how it happened. And combined with the fact that we're able to jump back and forth between these two clips, so we have the men, the ladies, the men, the ladies, almost as if it was actually shot by two cameras. It's an easy sell. So when you do cut out pieces of songs, so sometimes the cut points in the video end up being a little bit off, so you just got to be aware of that and look to correct it possibly. That was a little bit off. So check that there. See what I have here. Okay, so now we're gonna. Here I have 3 clips in a row. Okay, this is an extremely long clip. If you look at the length of the other ones, this one's just significantly longer. Now, if you look here, we have a few continuous clips. So we have 3 continuous clips of the ladies. So we're actually going to split this one up. And you want to look for a natural point to split up. So here he was dancing with one person. Right, so we're going to cut it right there. And remember, the cut always has to be on a beat, even when we're making these adjustments. So we'll stick that over there. And now we're going to put this lady's clip. And this should work. Alright, you'll notice the people are still bouncing to the man's music. Alright. Alright, so right there is a good point to stick back in that clip that we missed before. I don't want to go to the exact point where I cut it, because you'll end up putting together that it was a... So we're going to just find where he actually starts dancing with the next guy, and... It's a drop off. I don't like the way they look dancing. Okay, so the way I'm gonna get this clip to line back up, because I don't like the way it's lining up, I'm gonna mute the main audio. I'm gonna just listen to the camera audio now, and we're gonna make a new cut point based on the audio that's coming out of the camera, again on beat. So right there was a good beat, and now that should line up with this point in the music. Okay, this clip for some reason isn't doing exactly what I want, so I'm gonna choose to play it for a little bit less than the usual. That way it doesn't stand out as something that's off. Now, this clip here can go right next to this one, even though they're both ladies' clips, but they're different perspectives, and you can actually see that girl in the maroon here is actually standing over there. So this kind of works, even though it was shot by one camera. And again, notice how they're dancing to the music. Alright, we're going to stretch that. Usually I have a little bit more room. If not, you got to do something else, but in this case, I was able to stretch it a little bit longer without the camera moving. Again, because the point where I originally cut it, wherever this clip was, you know, somewhere over here, just worked out a little bit differently than what I have in the final. So. Okay, and I think that's a good point already to think about changing up the song a little bit. So let's see. Actually, not yet. So right over there, they have a change of song. I'm not sure yet exactly how I'm gonna do this. I'm sort of looking for inspiration. Okay, I'm actually gonna make the cut here, I think, and we're going to look for that change of song, and we're going to cut out this piece here. Let's see if that gives us enough room to work with. So, put these together, and remember, right where this red line is, something was cut out. But if we did it right, that should be natural. I'll even put in the fade already. And again, drag it all the way to the left. And let's see if that works. I'm just listening to the music right now. I don't care so much about the video. And that works perfectly. It just goes so well. If not for the fact that I'm watching myself do it, and you're watching me actually cut out pieces of the music. In a final edit, there's no way to know that anything was cut out there. Alright, and it's always good to just put a cut in the video with a cut in the music. That kind of works. We want to sort of, not exclusively keep videos where they were, but in the general area. That way, if the drummer decided to speed up or slow down slightly, which is a common thing in live music, you know, the dance sort of still works. See if I could drag that a little more. So I could. There was a little bit more to drag. And I let that clip go a little longer, but it's okay because it's the bride's brothers dancing with the groom, so she'll want to see that. It's nice. But again, I could have cut it in the middle. Maybe I will cut it in the middle. Alright, so we'll stop that there. I decided I'm gonna break it up a little bit. Alright, now we have to remember to break up the next clip too, or this doesn't, or we're gonna lose our every other clip kind of thing, so. And now I can't have the hug end over here and then continue 10 seconds later. So we're gonna cut out the hug. And I don't know for sure if that's gonna work. Let's see. It's borderline. Let's just see if we could take the end tool, the slide tool, and just slide the cut point, which is going to make the cut offbeat, but both clips should still line up. And it's not something I would like to do, but I don't want to have that shake at the end of the clip. see how this one looks. Alright, I'm going to split up these longer clips again, especially since they are wider clips. They're generally a little less interesting to watch. And I'm going to, we see there's getting to be a long gap in the music, so I'm going to find a way to cut the music now. So, ladies clip, the next one will be this men's clip, then this ladies clip. Let's see what we can cut to. Alright, that sounds like a good spot. And we're going to see if it works. Again, there's no guarantee that it's going to work. Some songs just won't fuse together nicely. Some will. But ripple delete, put that thing, and then drag that all the way to the left. You can see that up close over here. The default is that it's in the middle. We're just going to drag it that way. And that, I find it gives it a little bit more of a natural, because it's very common when a band is switching songs that the singer or the lead musician will sort of roll into the next song a little bit early. It's actually, I play a little music myself, and it's actually done, the lead instrument is keying in the rest of the band as to what song they're about to play. So it's a very natural thing. Most people don't even realize it happens, but it feels natural when you make it happen in video. And again, just listen to how natural. The traditional way of editing would be to just find a nice point to cut, fade between them, and call it a day. I'll save and I'll do the. There we go. Here would be the traditional way. All right, you would just fade between two random points. Alright, and you fade, and that's it. If you want to make it a little nicer, so you fade out of one and then fade into the other, so it sounds like this. It's not clean. I mean, people are used to it, and once you know, they let it go. But once you kind of hear what I've been able to accomplish by lining it up as a DJ would have done it live, there's really no other way. That's it. It's perfect. If you were dancing to that, you would just keep dancing. So let's keep going with it. Let's see if I have enough extra room. When you add more to the end of a clip from what you had originally cut, you just got to be careful that you don't, because eventually there's going to be, see the camera movement where I went to the other side. So you just got to make sure that you don't get any of that in there. And we're just going for a believable edit. I think I can drag a little more into that. And let's pull this clip over. People will dance certain ways to certain songs also, and that's another important reason to try and keep, you know, this little area of clips should be over that same general area of music. You know, this little area of clips should end up being over that same general of music, and it'll again appear more natural because people tend to dance certain ways to certain music, and if you mess with it too much, the audience will pick up on it. We're just going to go for another minute or two. We're not going to actually get the whole dance together on this video. I actually want to pause from this point, and I just want to show you what I would do by this point here where something changed tempo drastically. So I marked this as purple because I want to keep this clip exactly where it is. That's done either by a change of tempo, or we don't have this in this dance set, so I don't have an example of it, but I also do it if something about the clip has to be at that point in the dance. And that point in the music, for example, a dance that everyone knows, a certain choreographed dance that everyone knows goes with a certain song, you can't put the high part of that dance on the low part of the song, it just won't go. So you have to start getting a little more creative with the edit. Also, if you clearly see people mouthing words, or you see a musician clearly playing to a certain part of the song, it just has to go in the right spot. In this case, the only reason it has to go in the right spot is because the tempo changed so drastically. If I were to we'll just put it here, we'll show you what that looks like. They're just not dancing to that music now. As opposed to here, where they are. So let's just see what we're going to do here. So this is still part of the fast. I think what we're going to do is maybe stretch this out a drop that way and put that here. That will have to work. See what we have. Okay, so there's 2 men's clips in a row. So yeah, we're just going to cut that longer ladies clip. And as long as they're bouncing to the music, it doesn't matter that we kind of move them out of place. And we'll cut that there. So again, we have now 2 men's clips in a row, and then we have this longer ladies clip. So this is going to end up, let's just see what we can do here. And the other thing I have to keep in mind is that all these clips that are here need to end up in this section before this purple one here. This purple is already back to fast. Right there, we'll actually put a marker on the clip up there. That is where it begins to get fast again. So I'm going to have to condense this music a little bit. Let's see how they end it here. Okay, so they went into the high part. It was an instrumental high part, but we just got to find a high part that's a little closer this way. So how about right here? So right there. Let's just 1, 2, 3, 4. So right there. We will make our cut right there. Now all these clips, let's just see, ladies, men, there's 2 men's clips there, so something will have to be adjusted. What do we have here? Men, need a ladies clip in there. And now we'll put the men's clip. seems like a good spot to put the ladies back in. But I don't want to, I want to shorten the cut point a little bit so those cut points don't match up, but not much. I don't want to lose anything too much of the clip. Okay, so there was a camera shake over there that I'd rather do without, so we're just going to cut this shorter. And also going to cut all this out, and let's see what happens when we put them together. So, and remember, just drag that transition over to the left. That wasn't as perfect as I would like, so we're gonna try moving this way. That's better. That's okay. So this one worked better in the center, and you gotta just play around with it till you get it to work. The results when you get it right are just worth it. I'm having another idea. We're actually going to use that high part, since I kind of need to cut a little bit out anyways of this. So this first fast clip is men. This one here is men, so we're going to need a little bit of this ladies clip to end up over here. So let's just put that there and that there. Let's see what happens. Okay, that works for me. Here's something that we just gotta, let's figure out how we're gonna make this work. Not quite sure yet what I'm gonna do to make it work. Let's play around with it. Let's make that a little bit of a longer transition. And you gotta play around with it. So over here, we'll put that one in. Obviously this cannot just go into this. It just doesn't work. So let me see what's here. Okay, so we're gonna cut out a little more, and I'm not a fan of cutting things out. Sometimes you have to make it work. So now I'm gonna choose between these two clips which one I kind of like better. This clip, the bride isn't really dancing. She's dancing with a friend, and we did use some of it over here briefly. And we used the hug, which is the most important part. This clip here, she's dancing with her mother-in-law and sister-in-laws. So we definitely want to keep that. This one can go out. And remember, we have the same clip over here, and we could drag it out if we want it to be a little longer. Let's see what we need to do. It's all about telling the story. Okay. It's kind of funny because the band actually did make a mistake. So you hear the mistake, but it still ends up flowing natural. Let's see if we could drown out the mistake a little bit. Let's see what happens. There we go. Sometimes you just gotta play around with it. Here I just shifted over the cut point a little bit. And technically this is the end of, this is one song and then you get a saxophone part from a different song. But they were close enough in style that nobody's gonna pick it up. And again, this is just DJ stuff, you know? Be your own DJ. One more trick up my sleeve. Now, this clip, remember, was a longer clip that we cut shorter just to squeeze in this extra spot. We can now drag it back longer. And there you have it. Now they're back up to speed. So now, we'll save that and we're gonna call this video an end over here. But we did this beginning part and then we just did this segment. I normally wouldn't do that. I would normally just go in order. I just wanted to emphasize what I actually do with those clips that were labeled in purple. This happens for change of tempo. This happens if you see someone singing, if the video camera focuses on the singer or a musician, or if you or if there was a choreographed dance that was done to a certain song. If a certain high part of a song changes enough that the dance changes with it, you know, these are reasons why I would label something in violet, or any color for that matter. That tells me that I need to pay special attention to make sure that that clip works. We're just going to quickly watch what we did over here. So here they're dancing fast. Right, and that'll work. And then on the other end, there are better examples where you can actually see them slowing down in the video, but we're gonna call this one as it is. We'll see you in the next video.